Hello, welcome to day one in my 100 days of YouTube tutorials. If you are watching me, congratulations, and let's hope you stay with me through the 100 days because I'm going to be teaching you a lot. This is the first thing I'm going to talk about: how to create a work schedule. Here I have a work schedule for whichever crew it is, and this schedule is very responsive. We can change anything here at all, and the schedule rearrange itself. The formula calculates whatever it is that it must calculate. So this shift is like this: Kofi Jamal goes for 3 days of morning shift, 2 days of afternoon shift, 3 days of night shift, and then he goes for 2 days of sweet off. Okay, so it starts on 4th of January. So let's see, 4th of January. He does morning 1, 2, 3, and then the rest continue. Now assume we change Kofi Jamal shifts. Let's give him 2 days of morning. Voila. The formula changes to that he's going for morning for 2 days, and then afternoon, and the rest follows. Likewise too, we can change the date. Let's see, assuming he just came back from leave on the 10th of April, so his first day is 10th of April, and we see he starts his morning shift on the 10th of April before he goes to whatever shift it is that he will continue with. So our work schedule is highly configurable. Once you do the template, the only thing you need to change is the shift arrangement and what day the person is starting the shift, and that is it. Suppose we want the schedule for June in advance. We want to know how the schedule will look like in June. We just change this one, and that is it. Now assuming you don't do any work that involves you making schedules or whatever, you stay with me, because what I'm going to be teaching you is a combination of how to structure your worksheet, how to combine formulas in interesting ways to get a very surprising result. So now that we've settled on what you are going to be learning, let's see how we are going to do this. So I have here the data without any input whatsoever. So what we are going to do here is we are just going to work with one person. Let's pick Kofi Jamal, and then when we write the formula for Kofi Jamal and we are sure that our formula is working, we can now copy it and apply it to the rest of the people. Okay, so this is what we will be expecting. Kofi Jamal goes on morning here for 3 days, afternoon for 2 days, night for 3 days, and then he's off for 2 days. And this system will continue for so let's see, it should be okay, it should end somewhere around here, I don't know, okay, whatever. And we are going to structure our formula in such a way that it will give us this kind of repetition. We are going to delete these m's and put in place the formula, but to assure us the formula is working, let's color our mornings green, our afternoons red. Okay, move forward. No, this is too dark. I want something that will, okay, yellow. The night, let's make it gray. And then our afternoon, our off, let's make it blue. or whatever shade of color it is. Let's see. Okay, I think it's working now. So whenever we write our formula, we are expecting that we will receive such a result here. So let's build our formula step by step. This is what is happening. The whole shift is 10 days. Yeah, 3 plus 2, 5 plus 8 plus is 10 days. So we are expecting a pattern that repeats every 10 days, every 10 days, every 10 days. Number 2, he's starting the shift on the 4th of January. So we need a way to detect that this is his first day, this is his second day, this is his third day. So to do that, let's subtract the date we are interested in from the date he's supposed to start. We are getting 0. Yes, that's the thing with date. So we add 1 to compensate for that kind of error. Then this is it. Let's drag it. Fill without formatting. And we are getting strange result here. Okay, let's see. This one is picking from the correct place. Let's check the next one. F2. It is picking from the date here, but strangely it is picking from 1st January instead of the start date. And the reason is that because we copied our formula from here to here, the formula is also shifting from here to here, from here to here. So in order to stop that, no matter where we copy it to, we still want it to be picking from the G. So we come and we lock the G. And how we lock it to the G is that we put a $sign in front of the G. You can type it or you can hit F4 till the $sign appears in front of only the G. Likewise, if you are to copy this formula downwards, a quick one, let's see. We realize that it is picking from here instead of remaining at K2. So no matter where we move it to, we still want it to be picking from K3. Sorry. And this is the rule. We always want it to be picking from here, which means that in our formula, where there is K3, we must lock it to the 3 so that no matter where we move it, it picks from 3. So F4, 3. The 3 is locked now. Let's see what happens if you move it here. Okay, so it's starting on 9th. 4th will be -4. Let's drag it to 9th and see. Okay, 9th is 1. I think that is it. Our formula is working now for that result. Let's drag it here and see. Fill without formatting. Okay, so yes, but the problem here is that when we get to 10, our formula, instead of going back to 1 and counting to 10 again, continues at 11. And the way we solve this one is by using the modular operator. What the modular operator does is that it ensures that a figure never goes above another number. So let's say if you use 10, it will ensure that whatever number we give it will not go beyond 10. So when it gets to 10, the next one, it goes back to 11, and then instead of 11, it goes back to 1, and we keep repeating that cycle. So let's put that in our formula. Modulo. Let's see. Oh, okay. So we need it to be rotating around 10. Let's see what happens. I'm not going to copy it everywhere. Yes, and that's the problem. We end up with 0 because as soon as we get 10, it will do the division and the remainder will be 0. I prefer it if it is 1 to 10 rather than 1 to 9 and then 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this plus 1 out of here and put it here, so that whatever result we have, it will add a 1 to it, so that the 0 is eliminated, filled with that format. Yes, and this is it. We have it from 1 2 3 4 to 10, and then it goes back again. So you realize the 4 5, which is our afternoon shift, always appears in the yellow. Okay, so that one is done. Whenever we move in this direction, I end up not seeing the names, and I'm sure if you come down to, I'll not be seeing the date. So to fix that, let's make sure that our date and our numbers always appear. I'm going to put the cursor here, and I'm going to freeze the pane. When I do that, anything to the left of the currently selected box will always appear, and anything to the top will always appear. So let's freeze the pins, and that's what we have. So no matter where we move, it will always appear. Okay, so I think now that we are done with that, this is the next thing that we are going to do. Whenever we notice that the day is between 1 and 3, or it is less than 4, or it is less than or equal to 3, that means it's on the morning shift. And whenever it is between 4 and 5, that means he's on the afternoon shift. So we are going to put a similar thing in our formula, and this formula will end up being a bit long. So I need more space here to write the formula, and to get that space here, I'll hold the edge of the formula by and pull it down. That is one way of doing it, but I prefer using the shortcut, which is Ctrl-Shift-U, and we have the same result. So let's come here and edit our formula. We are going to use the ifs operator, which I'm sure most of you have not come across. If you have come across it, congratulations. They only added it in Microsoft Office 2019 and Office 365, and even that one, unless you've updated it, I don't think you have it. But there's another way to write the formula without the ifs operator, and I think when I get to the end of the tutorial, I'll put in a note about which formula, how to write it without the ifs, in case you don't have it, so that you don't lose out on this. So we are going, how the ifs operate is that you do a test, logical test. Then if that test is true, you put, it gives a value, and that is it. But if that test is not true, then it will perform a second test, and if that test is true, it will put a value there, and it keeps continuing till it has exhausted all the options. So what we are going to do here is that we want to do a test if our modulo operate, if whatever number we have here is less than or equal to 3, because 1 2 3. So if it is less than or equal to 3, we want it to put morning there, and that is it. If we should hit enter right now, it will show us morning. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so what we have to do for the rest of them, so whenever we copy this formula, everything will be filled properly. Let's come here. Let's come here. And this time we are checking whether it is less than or equal to 5. That one should be afternoon. The question is, if the test we are doing here is less than or equal to 5, then that means that it should be showing afternoon for something like 2, because 2 is less than or equal to 5. But no, it won't. The reason why it won't is because it will perform this test, and it is only when this test is not true that is when it will come here. So as soon as we do a test for a number like 2, we'll get it to be true, and M will appear. So it's not going to happen. Let's copy this and paste here. Our next test is less than or equal to 8, and that one will be night shift. Our final test will be less than or equal to 10. And that should be about it. Okay, so morning. Let's drag it and see what happens. Okay, so that's it. Oh, sorry. A here, A here. This A should be our off, which is X, not E. So less than or equal to 10. Let's put X there. And I think that one should fix it. Yeah. So let's see. Okay, so that is it. Now that we are sure that our formula is working, let's remove our color guides for now. No fill. No white fill. Sorry. Okay, so our formula is working. The next thing to do is to check whether, if we should change the date, everything will respond accordingly. So let's come here. Let's make our afternoon shift 3. The formula didn't respond. I'm still showing 2 days off. Oh, let's take this one off, so that let's take everything here off, so that we can see what we are dealing with. So we've put 3 here, and still our afternoon is showing 2 days. And this is the reason why when we change this one to 3, our afternoon shift now ends on the 6th day, not on the 5th day. But our formula is checking for less than or equal to 5. So that is the problem. So how do we solve it? So that whenever we change, let's say we change this one to 8, our formula will still respond to it. And how we do that is that instead of checking for a hard figure like 5, we ask it to check for the summation of this, so that it will know that this is when the morning shift or whatever ends. So instead of this 5 here, let's sum these 2 numbers for the afternoon shift. But before we hit enter and see what happens, our formula is something that we are going to be copying to the right and also to the left. But no matter what we do, we still want it to be locked to the C and D. So we have to lock our formula here to C and D. The C has a $sign, the D has a $sign, and I think we can hit enter. Yes. Oh, the sum, we didn't close the bracket for the sum. Okay, so this is it. Let's change this one back to 3 and see if we drag, the formula will respond accordingly. We have it here. 3 mornings, and our night is not responding. Our night is 2 when it should be 3, and as I the problem is still this, comes from the same place. Instead of hard figure like 8, we tell it to check, and then we make sure our locks are working. The same thing here. F4, F4, F4. And for consistency sake, let's change this 3 here, because we may also change the first figure and it has to know where to pick from. Okay, so let's lock it, even though it's still the same cell, but let's lock both of them. And then right now everything is lining up, and if there should be a problem in our formula, we can see where the issue is coming from straight away and fix it. Okay, enter. Let's drag it, let's copy it and see what happens to the end. Control V. Is there a problem? Okay, so there seems to be a problem here. After 3 days afternoon, we go for 3 days night, but instead of 2 days off, we are having 1 day off here. And to indeed see what is happening here on 14th, when it should be off, but rather it's showing morning, let's come to, there's a tool here, formulas. Let's come to evaluate formula. And what this one does, that it will walk us through our formula, and then we will see what figures we are getting. And I want you to concentrate on this area, because this is where you perform the first check to get the result of morning. So it means whatever happened, this figure here, this calculation here, evaluated to true, and that's why we are seeing morning there. So let's, and this is how we are going to do it. We are going to click on evaluate one by one, and each time we click on evaluate, it will do a small part of the calculation, the total calculation for the formula. It will do a small part. So when we click on evaluate, it will do this U3, which is this 14, minus G8, which is our start date, evaluate, and it says 10. So 14 minus 4 is indeed 10. The modulo is 0, and then plus 1 gives us 1, and 1 is less than 3, which is why it is showing us morning. Yes, so the problem is with the modulo. Instead of this being our day, let me see, 6, 9, 11, instead of this being our day 11, it is giving us day 10, which will go to 0. So this is where the issue is coming from in our formula. In our formula, we are using the hard-coded figure of 10. So it doesn't allow our formula to respond to a shift system that contains more days or less days. Because remember at the beginning we said it should repeat some certain number of times. The problem is that here it is no longer our 10 days, but rather our 11 days. So instead of 10, we should do the same thing of getting it to pick the total shift days from here, F4 till we lock it, and then what we do is we copy this formula, this part of the formula, and wherever we see 10, we paste it there, paste it in place of 10, put it in place of 10, and that should do the magic. Okay, so yes, 2 days of off here. Now that we are done, we are sure that our formula is indeed working. Let's change this one to 0. The person doesn't go on off, and see what happens. Yeah, I think it is working. M, A, E, N, N, and then M. I don't know where they ran the shift system, but this was just to try and see what happens. So it is working perfectly, and we can copy it to the rest of the cells. Let's drag it down. Whoa. We'll fix that. It is showing 0 division error, and the reason why it is doing that is because the modulo operator does the division and brings a remainder, but there's nothing here to divide by, so that is what is causing the problem. So let's drag this one here, and it should fix it. Here it has fixed it. Let's drag this one here, and it should fix it. Okay, so let's paste this one back here, and that is it. Okay, so now that we are done with that, let's color this in a way that distinguishes the morning from the afternoon, from the night, and the rest. So let's select the range where our data is. Let's come to conditional formatting, highlight cell rows, text that contains. So let's start with the morning, and as soon as we do that, it gives us light red fill with dark red text, which is here. I don't want that. I don't want a crowded sheet. Let's come to custom. I want it to be bold. I want it to be, let's see, what color. The color should be, we choose green. Yes, let's make it green. So this is how it is going to look like. Okay, the same thing again, highlight cell rows, text that contains afternoon, custom. Afternoon should be, the color should be blue. Yeah, not bad. Should it be bold? Let's leave it like that. Let's leave it like that. So this is our afternoon, and then our night. If you don't want to keep on doing this, you can come to under conditional formatting, you say manage rules, and then here you just say cancel. You just say new rule. You say format only cells that contain specific text. So here you put we are night, and the disadvantage with this is that as you are doing it, you won't be seeing it reflected here. So that is let's make it bold, night black. Yeah, so you see, okay, until you press apply, you won't see the effect here. So that is one way of doing, but let's come to what we've been doing. Our X, you want orange text, with italics. Should we make it bold? Yeah. Let's make it bold. Off is sweet. Everybody should see when we are off. Yeah, and that is it. We are done. Let's make our top column bold, and then finally let's put in the title, work shadow. Let's apply a style here. That is looking good. Let's put borders around black. Let's put borders around one border at the bottom, slightly thicker at the left and right. I think that should be it. Yes, another border here under the date. Okay, so that is it. Can choose to reduce the size of this one so that we see more information on our page. And yes, that should be it. We are done. So that is how to prepare a work schedule. Here I showed you how to use the IFS formula, how to use the modular formula, and generally how to think about your problem in terms of steps. And if you get to a step that you are not getting the result that you expect, how to look through this formula to see where your problem is coming from. So that is it for today. Catch you tomorrow for another amazing tutorial. That one too will involve a little bit of dates and times, and then we will move on to other things. So thank you until I catch you next time. Bye bye.